After the car accident, I was reborn 10 years earlier, and Eric and I silently broke up. In my past life, he got close to me because of Lily, watching the one he truly loved be with someone else. He made me his wife for 7 years, but the first thing he did after I was reborn was to get rid of me. "Celine, let's end this," he said. At that time, he wasn't a successful CEO everyone admired, just a college student applying for poverty-based scholarships. He dated the best friend of the woman he loved, out of love. And he regretted it for 10 years. I agreed not to interfere anymore. But after my fall, he came rushing back to find me again. What was going on? Chapter 1. The bell rang, signaling the end of class. "Celine, let's go to the cafeteria together," Lily said. I didn't look at Hareton Year's young eras. I packed at my backpack. Eric, standing next to her, parted his lips slightly, his gentle eyes fixed on Lily. "No need. We'll go on our own." "Celine's been really busy lately," he said, turning his handsome profile to me, his tone suggesting a gentle reminder. Right? I remembered Eric's voice from that day, cold and detached, offering no room for negotiation. "Celine, let's end things properly. I can't lose Lily." Yes, he truly regretted those 10 long years. Regretted starting a relationship with me just to get close to Lily, only to find himself playing the role of someone else's boyfriend. In this life, with a second chance, he wouldn't repeat such a foolish mistake. I forced a smile.
Sure.
Go ahead, Lily.
He's right.
I've been busy with the campus competition and rehearsals. At the mention of the campus competition, Lily's eyes flickered. In my past life, I inherited a huge fortune from my parents, but chose to become a devoted wife and mother, struggling by Eric's side. To protect his pride, I sacrificed quietly. I lived with him in a tiny basement apartment, cooked meals, and waited for him to come home every day. When he started his business, I secretly funded it. Back then, he said, "Celine, I'm so lucky to have you." As the two of them turned to leave, I called out, "Eric, wait." He stopped and turned, his expression slightly impatient. His eyes seemed to say, "As expected." I extended my hand and spoke softly under his confused gaze. "I remember the money on your meal card came from me. Since we're breaking up, please return it." Eric froze, suddenly reminded that the future wealthy entrepreneur was now just a poor student who couldn't afford his own meals. Lily would never have imagined that every gift, every meal Eric treated her to, was paid for with my money. Out of consideration for his dignity, I never told Lily the truth about Eric's situation. Feeling sorry for him, I transferred money to his card as naturally as breathing. He used that card every time the three of us had meals together. Lily never paid a cent. Neither did Eric. Both of them applied for poverty assistance scholarships. As expected, Lily frowned slightly and glanced sideways at Eric. That single glance was enough to make Eric's neck turn red. Lily always liked to keep things subtle, and that quiet elegance earned her titles like goddess and campus beauty. I used to think she had no material desires, offering her my belongings countless times. Thinking back now, I can't help but curse my own stupidity. Eric looked at me deeply and placed the meal card into my palm. "Celine, we're even now." The cold plastic felt like my heart numb, not painful, just suffocating. Lily looked like she wanted to say something. "Celine, maybe you should think this through." I stared at her. I would never forget how, on our wedding anniversary, Lily barged into our home with her child, knelt before me, and begged me not to separate them. The 3-year-old girl sobbed, and see Chapter 3 within a few days. News of my breakup with Eric had spread all over campus. He had officially joined the ranks of Lily's admirers. Wherever Lily was, there was Eric, with a love that was passionate and direct. Beneath the dormitory, Eric's tall figure was dappled with light filtering through the tree leaves. Virginia looked at me cautiously and said, "Celine, you'll definitely find someone more handsome and talented than Eric." I stayed silent. Everyone said Eric had dumped me for Lily. Now, I walked into class under the sympathetic gazes of my peers. Aside from feeling a bit awkward at first, I had now learned to ignore it completely. Suddenly, a shy boy appeared beside me. "Celine, this is for you," he said. I glanced at the box of imported chocolates in his hand, expensive and beautifully packaged. But I knew it wasn't really for me, it was meant for Lily. Everyone knew Lily and I were inseparable, best friends. Those who pursued Lily liked to go through me to give her gifts. It wasn't until a class reunion after graduation that I realized how bad my reputation had become. They said I played around with multiple guys at once, always fishing for freebies. Lily, fully aware, accepted all those gifts without a hint of guilt, enjoying the material benefits while navigating things with expert grace. From now on, give them directly to Lily, I told the boy, making him blush. Just then, Lily came down from the dormitory. Erick looked serious. Celine, what are you saying? When has Lily ever accepted anything from him? Lily was seen as the pure goddess of the school, never too close to any guy. He looked uncomfortable, like something precious to him was being tainted. Oh, really? I replied. In his eyes, Lily was his pure first love. How could she possibly do such a thing? Lily, haven't you accepted things from other boys? Lily answered calmly. Celine, I know you're upset about the breakup with Erick. I don't blame you. Her tone carried no resentment toward me. With even more indifference, I said, the most expensive phone you own? He gave it to you. The headphones? From a senior in the business administration department. Oh, and the flowers you got for a week? Since you said flowers weren't practical, he swapped them for a box of Dryo beige lipsticks. I had handled all of that. Celine, weren't those from your admirers? Virginia adjusted her glasses, her eyes gleaming with gossip. I shook my head. Everything was for Lily. I passed it all to her. Lily no longer looked so indifferent. I thought those were from you, she said. I sneered and asked Virginia, do you believe what she just said? Virginia raised her hand, clearly not buying it. But Erick stared at her, and she could only rub her nose awkwardly. Maybe Lily misunderstood. Erick said, you accepted gifts from others and then blamed Lily? What's the point, Celine? A sharp pain pierced my already numb heart, and I staggered. What's wrong with you? Erick rushed to steady me, his frown deep enough to kill a mosquito. I regained my composure and pulled away from his hand. If you don't believe me, I can call that senior and this classmate right now to confirm everything. And if that's not enough, I can find even more people, I said. I watched as Lily clenched her fists and slowly said, I have their contacts. Every time Lily accepted something, I reported it to those boys. Do you want me to call them right now? I pretended to reach for my phone. Enough, Celine. You're just jealous that Lily is more popular than you, that she's prettier than you. Your jealousy is really ugly. Chapter 4. I heard Virginia gasp. After his parents died, Erick became mature and reserved, never one to embarrass anyone publicly. In front of others, he always maintained the demeanor of a gentle scholar. But there was one exception when it came to Lily. She could always rattle his emotions. I used to think we shared a common sorrow, and I supported him through every hardship, but in reality, he simply had no better options at the time. I closed my eyes, wishing I could tell him the truth. In Lily's list of ideal partners, he hadn't even made the top 10. It was only after Erick became a powerful and feared CEO that Lily, now divorced, finally looked at him seriously. Back then, they snuck around behind my back, enjoying their love while I, as a devoted wife, nagged him to drink less, banned him from smoking, and forced him to go to health checkups. Always scolding, repeating the same concerns over and over. I've lost count of how many times I remembered those moments when he was secretly involved with Lily, while I nagged him constantly about his health and wondered if he was just as impatient with me then. I never told Erick that a large part of his so-called success came from my support behind the scenes. It was about a man's pride, especially because Erick was the man I loved most. I had been willing to help a boy grow into an outstanding man. But that man should not have been taken by someone else the moment he matured. He betrayed me and, in the end, tried to slap a label of jealousy on me. I felt it was time to make him face reality. Erick, what right do you have to defend Lily? Ignoring his suddenly cold expression, I grabbed Virginia and walked away. He seemed to have forgotten that, at that time, Lily wasn't even interested in him. Chapter 5. Maybe my words stirred something inside him, because Erick had stopped waiting for Lily outside the dorm for a while. Recently, Lily had also been busy preparing for the school's campus competition and paid little attention to Erick, charged at me, hitting the bad woman who took her father away. And Erick's only explanation to Lily was, that child is mine. I've always loved Lily. You took her place for too long, it's time to give it back. Being betrayed by my best friend and the person I trusted most was the cruelest lesson life had taught me. Until the day he died, Erick believed I had taken Lily's place, using him to climb the social ladder, and never truly respected me. Now, I'm giving Lily her rightful place back. Chapter 2. Erick and I were both orphans. Our parents had passed away. The difference was that I was the sole heir of a wealthy family, carrying an enormous fortune, while he was truly poor, so poor that he had to work just to pay his university tuition. To help him avoid juggling part-time jobs, I personally set up a generous scholarship fund for our department. Erick was an outstanding student, earning tens of thousands in scholarships each year, plus student loans, so he never had to work outside to survive. After we graduated, I encouraged him to start a business, funneling money to him in various ways, which helped him become the successful entrepreneur he eventually became. But he ended up with Lily, who had just returned from a divorce abroad. This time, he wanted to live his own life. And so did I. I took out my phone and dialed a number I knew by heart. Leo, I accept the engagement. Before they died, my parents were afraid I'd be bullied for being alone, so they arranged a marriage between me and Leo. I had never liked Leo before and always kept my distance. But now I think being with Leo might not be so bad. At least in my past life, Leo never married anyone else and never had any other women who was clean. The school had set a rule that the champion of the campus competition would receive 10,000 yuan as a prize. I wasn't competing for the money, but Lily really needed that 10,000. It was this very competition that somehow catapulted Lily to fame, earning her some notoriety and attracting the attention of many talented young men. I was preparing to perform a piano piece on stage, and by coincidence, Lily had also chosen to play the piano. I ran into her in the school's piano room. After finishing my piece, I turned to see Lily standing at the door. Her face looked a bit off, but she smiled and said, "Celine, I didn't know you played so well." I closed the piano and began gathering my things. "Really? I'm just a little better than you." Seeing that I was leaving, Lily stopped me. "Celine, could you not participate in the competition this time? I know you're competing with me for Erick, but you can't blame me. He's the one who keeps chasing after me." I really wanted Erick to see Lily as she was now. Was she still the goddess he remembered? My participation has nothing to do with Erick. You're right, whoever he likes has nothing to do with you, and nothing to do with me either. I didn't want to exchange another word with her. From the moment she coveted my marriage and my love, there was nothing left to discuss. Still, I underestimated Lily's determination to stop me from competing. A summer thunderstorm erupted, and the rain soaked her hair. "Why did you come here?" I raised an umbrella over her hiata reflex that made Erick take a step back. "Celine, what do I have to do to make you drop out of the competition?" I bit my lip and looked at him indifferently. "Why should I drop out?" Erick looked away. "If you withdraw from this competition, I'll agree to date you. And if you want more, that's not impossible." I stared at him in disbelief, disgusted by his words. "Erick, you truly make me sick." I no longer wanted to live with Lily, so I decided to move out of the dorm. The butler packed my things efficiently. Virginia stood off to the side, her mouth agape. "Celine, are these your family staff?" I nodded, removed my glasses, and put on some makeup. Erick never liked it when I dressed boldly. I preferred Lily's simple style. Unfortunately for him, my natural appearance was irresistibly seductive, and any attempt at modesty made me look like a carnivorous, which forced into vegetarianism. Erick once said I wasn't as pretty as Lily. He was blind. When Lily returned to the dorm and saw my transformation, she was stunned. "Celine, what are you doing?" I changed into my own designer clothes. "Nothing much. I just don't want to play anymore. I'm going home." Virginia chimed in with envy. "Lily, you don't know Celine has 8 maids and bodyguards." "Oh my God, a real lady has been by my side this whole time." She threw herself sweetly into my arms. "Celine, don't forget me when you're rich, okay? Don't forget, I shared those days with you." I smiled and took out an LV handbag I'd brought from home and handed it to her. "Here, do you like it?" "I love it. I love it so much." Lily's expression turned complicated. In the past, anything I had, I always gave to her. When I finally returned to my long-missed home, I collapsed on my bed. I didn't need to pretend to be poor anymore. I didn't need to worry about Erick's financial situation. All I had to do was enjoy life. I had really been foolish before. Virginia posted on social media. Thanks to the lady for the gift. Kisses. The photo was of the handbag I gave her. Silently, I liked the post just like everyone else. Chapter 6. The butler moved faster than I expected. Within days, the school issued a notice canceling the annual scholarship for the computer science department. For someone like Erick, who relied on that scholarship to pay his tuition, this was undoubtedly a major issue. Now, he would have to start working again to cover his school expenses. After I confirmed my engagement with Leo, he began appearing more often in my social circles. Erick called me. I heard you're with Leo now. No comment. Celine, you don't need to date someone just to provoke me. It's pointless. I hope you think carefully and stop with this nonsense. I remembered Virginia had mentioned that Erick had gotten into a fight over Lily. Worry about your precious Lily. You don't need to meddle in my affairs. I hung up without hesitation. That day, Virginia messaged me. Erick is working part-time at a Western restaurant. Guess what? He saw Lily having dinner with some guy from outside the school, and they seemed really close. Erick lost it and punched the guy. Don't you think that's over the line? Lily isn't even his girlfriend. Was that necessary? But I understood Erick. Lily had given birth to his daughter. In his heart, she was already his woman. Of course, he couldn't accept seeing Lily getting intimate with someone else. But Lily was a very ambitious girl, always aiming higher. At this stage, Erick simply didn't meet her expectations. She only showed her gentle side when she needed to use him. On the day of the university competition, Erick stood next to Lily, looking exhausted, with deep dark circles under his eyes and a wrinkled shirt. I noticed immediately that his shirt was worn out. It seemed like his life hadn't improved at all since I left. Our eyes met for a brief second before I turned toward Leo, who stood beside me. The sight of Leo and me together caused a bit of a stir, and Erick quickly sensed something was different. Leo glanced at me with a look of silent warning in his eyes. Chapter 7. Virginia waved at me, with that gleam in her eyes I knew so well. I sat beside her. She gave me a thumbs up. I must have blessed her tongue when I said you'd find someone better and more talented than Erick. And look, you really did. I winked at her. Thanks to your good luck. On stage, Lily wore a long white dress, her silky hair flowing behind her, perfectly matching her goddess-like aura. After her performance, the air filled with applause. Erick stood near the stage, hands in his pockets, quietly watching her. Somehow Lily's performance and mine had been scheduled back-to-back. After stepping off the stage, Lily threw me a brief glance before walking toward Erick and hooking her arm through his. I lowered my eyes expressionlessly. Virginia whispered, Celine, don't let her affect you. I smiled. By now, Erick no longer had the power to stir my emotions. I walked past him toward the stage. Celine, he called. I stopped. You don't even play piano that well, he said. Why humiliate yourself? I looked mockingly at Lily. Is that what you told him? That I don't play well, and he should stop me from performing? It's not about Lily. He's just worried you'll embarrass yourself in front of everyone. Oh, really? Tell him thanks, but I don't need it. I turned and walked onto the stage, not sparing Lily's fake face another glance. My fingers slid over the keys as I played the Croatian Rhapsody, a piece filled with power and emotion, not only reflecting the Croatian people's hope after war, but also symbolizing my resolve to leave the past behind and embrace a new life after my rebirth. As the final note echoed, the hall fell silent. A few seconds later, thunderous applause erupted, and under the stage lights, my beauty was dazzling and flawless. I heard someone whistle from the audience. I heard Virginia cheer joyfully. A burning gaze cut through the crowd and landed on me. I turned to see Leo's handsome face grinning wildly among the people. There was no doubt I had won the championship. Chapter 8. After the lively event, I bid Leo farewell. With the end of the campus competition, a certain melancholy settled over the school like the glow of sunset. Erick's agitated voice drifted in with the wind. Lily, why won't you believe me? How can I believe you? You say you love me, but your eyes are on another woman. And you? Aren't you flirting with multiple men? Who do you think you are? For the first time, Lily's voice held emotion. What do you expect me to do? My brother's treatment costs $300,000. Can you give me that? If you can, I'll cut off contact with all those other men and never see them again. Can you do it? There was a short silence. Just when I thought Erick might agree, I heard his low voice. Lily, don't pressure me. No one's pressuring you. I've never asked you for anything. Really? What about when you cried and begged me to stop Celine from competing? Have you forgotten? Erick and you say you feel nothing for Celine? Are you regretting it now that you saw how beautiful she looked today? After they left, I remained seated in the same spot for a long time. So that's where the money went, $300,000. In my past life, Erick resorted to high-interest loans. It wasn't until debt collectors nearly broke his hand that I found out. No matter how much I asked, he never told me where the money went. I was the one who paid off his debt, lying that I'd borrowed it from a friend. Turns out those $300,000 were for Lily. But none of that concerns me anymore. If Erick chooses to take high-interest loans again like in his previous life, that's his choice. Time passed slowly. After the campus competition, I became well-known at school, and people started calling me the campus beauty. Flowers came in, and guys approached me on campus, but I turned them all down. When Virginia nervously told me rumors were spreading that I was still hung up on Erick, I turned around and announced my engagement to Leo on social media. Within seconds, Leo reposted it to his public platform. As a public figure, the news spread quickly across campus. Lately, Lily's looks toward me felt sharp like knives. Thinking back, Leo was the only man Lily had ever openly praised. An upperclassman several years older than us, a golden boy with a glittering resume, backed by his family, sharp-tongued and witty, not known for being close with women, exactly Lily's dream target. But how could someone like Leo possibly be involved with her? She was dreaming. Celine, are you really with Leo? I thought you always liked Erick. Oh, not anymore. She blurted out. Then where did Erick's money come from? I regained my composure and looked at her carefully. Compared to her anxious demeanor earlier, she had gone back to being indifferent. It wasn't hard to guess her family issues must have been resolved, and apparently, Erick still couldn't let go of Lily. I kindly gave her a direction. I won't give him money. As for where it came from, you can ask him yourself. Lily was speechless. She wasn't stupid. Erick, a man who had to earn his tuition, suddenly giving her $300,000? The price he paid was probably something even Lily didn't dare to think too deeply about. Chapter 9. As graduation neared, I gradually stepped back from university life and began working early in the company. In my past life, only professional managers handled the company, and I was barely involved. Once I gradually handed over the company to Erick, I never worked again. This time, I have no intention of giving the company to anyone. My engagement with Leo is simply because he's suitable. I have no plans to hand over the business. Life became busy and hectic, filled with work every day, which made me lose weight, but feel more energized. A life that didn't revolve around men was actually pretty good. In my spare time, I gossiped with Virginia about our classmates or studied business management with Leo. Time passed slowly. Virginia mentioned that Erick and Lily were together. I merely raised an eyebrow. Maybe knowing how Erick had gotten that $300,000 made Lily soften. But once again, I was wrong. One day, Erick cornered me at a cafe. It had started pouring outside, dark clouds blanketing the sky, casting his figure in a lonely light. My first meeting with Leo happened just then. I ran into Erick unexpectedly, who was surprisingly calm. I looked at Erick's frown and introduced Leo. Leo, the future tech tycoon, sole heir of his family's company, and in my past life, Erick's most hated business rival. At that moment, Leo's gaze was clear and composed as he nodded at Erick. Leo's looks were no less striking than Erick's, but his personality was colder. His words could kill a conversation, which diminished some of his charm, though his presence was always commanding. When we were together, Leo always drew attention first. Erick paused when he saw Leo, then said, "Let's talk." I neither agreed nor refused. No, Leo and I have other plans. Maybe he had never seen me reject him so directly. Erick looked stunned and reflexively said, "I came all the way here."
Ha!
Leo let out a faint laugh, returning Erick's unpleasant gaze. Wow, Must have been a real sacrifice to lower yourself like that. I turned my head so he couldn't see the smile on my lips. What surprised me was that Erick didn't respond. In the past, they were like oil and water. Erick had become more restrained. I sighed. He had changed too. It was clear that without some sort of closure, Erick wasn't going to leave. I turned to Leo. I need to take care of something personal. Let's end it here for today. Leo's eyes were deep and still like a dark pool as he turned and walked away. That temperament so intense. Chapter 10. Erick looked at me with depth. So the rumors are true, huh? I was briefly surprised. After Leo announced our engagement, I had also been unexpectedly mentioned. He was always in the spotlight, and by extension, I was exposed too. The heiress of a conglomerate. Yes. So you're the daughter of the group's owner. He closed his eyes for a moment. I lazily took a sip of my coffee and looked up at him. What exactly are you trying to say?
He looked down.
So you've been lying to me this whole time? I gazed out toward the stormy horizon. Yes, I lied to you. And you lied to me too. We're even. How can we be even? What do you want, Erick? He let out a deep breath. Celine, give me another chance. I nearly spat out my coffee. Erick, you really are something else. He looked up, his tone full of melancholy. Lily, she's not who I thought she was. Celine never had even a hint of the soft, docile nature expected of a woman. She was bright, resolute, and always acted decisively. But Erick knew how much she had once cherished him. She had saved all her tenderness for him. Lily, on the other hand, looked gentle and graceful on the outside, like clear water. Only after getting to know her longer did he realize how indifferent she truly was. Maybe it was because he wasn't yet the admired CEO he would become. He had the misfortune of witnessing Lily's cold nature. Without money or value, Lily left without looking back, still flirting with other men. She would never agree to sleep in a tiny 10-square-meter basement with him or help start a business like Celine did, cooking meals, waiting for him to come home. Living in that basement, he often reflected on what he'd been thinking at that point in his past life. Back then, Lily had also taken his money, but since he was dating Celine, naturally, they weren't together. Erick had planned to hold on, to settle things with Celine, and then give Lily a good life. But what he ended up waiting for was Lily going abroad and marrying a wealthy foreign man. He bottled up his frustration, consumed daily with thoughts of how to make money and how to win Lily back. As for Celine, had only needed her in that moment. Did you know how it would end from the beginning? Is that why you left so cleanly? I stood up. Erick, even now you still think everyone else is the problem. Erick suddenly stood and grabbed me. Celine, you hate Leo, don't you remember? I paused. I never hated him. You were the one who didn't like him, and I couldn't stop myself from hating him too. In fact, he was the fiancé my family chose for me long ago. If not for you, our paths would have never been derailed. Erick, we each have our own lives now. I'm no longer in your way, and Lily is yours. You should be happy you got exactly what you wanted. Chapter 11. The rain kept pouring, heavy and endless. I hadn't called my family's driver and was about to take a taxi on my own. Suddenly, an umbrella appeared over my head, the rich scent of rain mixed with fresh laundry detergent filling my senses. Leo was holding the umbrella, not looking at me. I'll take you home. I didn't refuse. Celine, let's get married. Leo seemed surprised by his own words. Under the umbrella, he looked like a fallen nobleman suddenly touched by the warmth of the mortal world. His eyes gradually shimmered with watery light. I brought him back to the villa. Rain dripped from his hair and trickled down his neck, making me lick my lips unconsciously. The next moment he lifted me into his arms. I nestled into his embrace, blushing, pointing toward the bathroom. From now on, you're not allowed to think about any other man. Leo brushed a lock of hair behind my ear, his voice low and threatening. You're only allowed to think about me. Otherwise, I can't guarantee you'll have the energy to even look at other men. And just like that, I truly had no energy left. Leo had a special talent for making people fall for him. I felt like if he ever wanted a woman to love him, it would be far too easy. Chapter 12. I never thought I'd see Erick again, but once more he appeared in front of me. Celine, how have you been? I looked at his carelessly washed clothes, his unshaven face, his messy appearance. I thought we had made things perfectly clear. Cigarette butts were scattered at Erick's feet even though he had never been a smoker. He gave a bitter smile. Lily's gone. So what? Why are you here? Suddenly, Erick stepped forward, grabbed my hand, and hit himself in the face with it. I gasped and yanked my hand back. Are you crazy? His eyes were terrifyingly red as he clutched my shoulders. Celine, please forgive me. Let's go back to how things were. Let's start a business together. Let's fight side by side. Be my smart and capable wife again. I finally see it clearly. I never loved Lily. It was all ego. I've always loved you. His grip on my shoulders tightened painfully, and I frowned. Let go. You're hurting me. He seemed to come to his senses and released me, though his hands still hovered around me cautiously. Celine, please say yes. I stepped back with a look of disgust. No. We're done. I'll never go back to you. Give it up. You're lying. You love me so much. How could you possibly change your mind? I gave up Lily, did you hear that? I gave her up. I was furious. You're not listening to a word I'm saying. From the moment you betrayed me, there was no going back. I don't believe you. You wouldn't treat me this way. You love me. I love you too. Let's start over. I'll treat you right this time. Erick wasn't hearing me at all. He was obsessed with making me accept him again. His expression began to twist into something unstable. His manic behavior scared me. I struggled to break free. Chapter 13. Erick dragged me along as he ran, pulling me forward. Soon, we arrived at an abandoned rooftop. Celine, I have nothing left. Can you really bear to watch me die? Below was a 5-story abandoned shopping center with piles of steel and concrete stacked beneath us. My heart leapt into my throat. I didn't dare provoke him any further. Erick no longer had the drive he once did. At that moment, he looked like a stray dog, desperate and broken. Erick, calm down. Even without Lily, you still have a future. If you don't have money, you can earn it again. You have a long road ahead. I was just a part of your path. What's past is past. He started laughing miserably, breathless and uncontrollable. You don't need to lie to me anymore. I know I only succeeded because you were supporting me behind the scenes. Without you, I have no future. Then Erick went quiet. He stepped toward me and I backed away in fear, accidentally kicking a brick that shattered on the rooftop. Ah! I cried out, terrified. Erick rushed forward and embraced me. Celine, don't be scared. I won't hurt you, I promise. I was so frightened I started crying. Erick, let me go. We really can't go back. Leo will find me soon. Hearing Leo's name made Erick unravel again. You don't love him. You love me. He's just a tool you used to hurt me after I neglected you. Celine, he's deceiving you. Have you forgotten how much you hated him before? That's not true. I shook my head desperately. It's not true. Have you forgotten what you said? You said I took Lily's place, and you told me to give it back to her. I did what you asked. So, what are you doing now? Erick crouched in agony, covering his head. Stop talking. Please stop talking. He reached out and grabbed my leg. I'm sorry, Celine. Please, just forgive me once. Chapter 14. No way in hell. Leo, panting and drenched in sweat, came running up from below. His icy gaze locked onto Erick. Take your filthy hands off her. Don't touch her. Erick looked at the man in front of him, and a fire ignited in his heart. If it hadn't been for Leo, Celine wouldn't have left him. If not for Leo, he might have gotten her back. They could have returned to the path of their previous life. He would have succeeded, married Celine, never betrayed her again, stayed away from Lily, and devoted himself entirely to Celine. They would have their own children, a happy and complete life, and Celine would cherish him again like before. A red haze flashed before Erick's eyes. He lunged forward with only one thought: oh, make this man disappear forever. Leo dodged Erick's punch and launched one of his own. The two men fought furiously. It was like a brutal battle between rival males, neither willing to hold back. Leo took a punch to the face, then retaliated with a hit to Erick's jaw. I ran forward and threw myself between them. Erick, stop. Unexpectedly, Erick did stop. Chapter 15. He collapsed messily onto the ground. Celine, you really are heartless. I rushed to check Leo's injuries, but at Erick's words, I stood up abruptly. Smack. My palm stung from the slap I delivered across Erick's face. He was stunned, but what I said next had nothing to do with the fight. I remember the day Lily barged into our house. You protected her, took her away. You left me alone, with everyone staring. I couldn't move. My whole body trembled. I thought you would come back, explain everything, but you didn't. I waited from dusk until dawn, and I never heard a word from you. Do you know why I drove that night? I looked at Erick's frozen face and said quietly, it was Lily. She sent me photos of the two of you together. I went mad trying to find you. I found you, and I brought you into the car. But Lily's words kept echoing in my ears. They were so annoying, unbearably irritating. I slowly crouched down, leaned in close to him, and whispered in his ear. So, I stepped on the gas. I crashed straight into you. I wanted us both to die. Seeing his blank stare fixed on my face, I smiled. Do you still think I could ever be with you again? I stood up and walked over to Leo, pulling him away with me. For a long while, behind us came Erick's desperate, repressed wail like the howl of a dying animal, dragging from the depths of his throat. It faded into the wind. Chapter 16. Our wedding was lavish, yet low-key. Now you know my secret. Are you afraid of me? I smiled in my wedding dress as I adjusted Leo's tie. My love can't be betrayed. Be careful, or I might devour you. He grabbed my fidgety hands. Dear wife, we already signed the prenup.
I don't own a dime.
Don't worry, there's no one else in this world like you who loves rescuing men teetering on the edge. I glared at him. That day, he came back and wrung every detail out of me about Erick, even made me write a statement of assurance 10 times before letting it go. Since then, he's protected me fiercely. I never saw Erick again. Sometimes I heard about him through Virginia. His high-interest loans for Lily became public knowledge, and faced with mounting debt, he had to work nonstop to repay it. He was busy every day. Unlike in his past life, this time without my help smoothing the way, someone really did break his hand. Maybe Erick was still the same Erick, not entirely useless, but reliant on me to rise. Perhaps in the future, he'd start another business, but this time on his own. Years after our marriage, just like in the previous life, Lily got divorced and returned to the country, dejected. I heard she went to find Erick, but he didn't see her. The last time I saw Lily, she was clinging to a man 2 generations older than her at a party. Erick was there too. Using his knowledge from a previous life, he had started a moderately successful company, not as big as before, but respectable. His name would occasionally appear in the news. When asked why he never married, he would only smile and change the subject. Whenever this happened, Leo would sulk for days, then inevitably post pictures of us on social media. He still disliked Erick, always viewing him as a ticking time bomb. Just like in the past life, the two men couldn't stand each other. In one corner of the banquet, Erick smoked silently, while Lily, pale-faced and tearful, still looked stunning. But no one appreciated her beauty anymore. Erick, have you been well these past years? I missed you so much while I was abroad. I wouldn't have married that man if my family hadn't needed the money. Didn't you miss me even once? Caught in the awkward moment, Leo and I hesitated. Erick looked at me, smiled faintly, and nodded. Then, spotting the slight swell of my belly, he quietly extinguished his cigarette. Miss after you. He didn't disappoint. From beginning to end, he never looked Lily in the eye, simply walking past us. Leo gave me a side glance and held me tighter, as if on high alert. Lily stood frozen, unable to believe Erick had treated her like air. When her eyes met mine, half smiling, half cold, she turned her head away in discomfort. I clung to Leo, diving headfirst into this world of fame and fortune. Our ties to others had all been severed. From now on, each of us would go our separate way.